Hi, I'm Anna,
Hi, I'm Rachel.
and welcome to episode 4 of A 20 something Take. Today's episode is Congrats to the class of 2020.
Hey. So, in this week's episode, we are talking about a virtual commencement or virtual graduation. Me and Anna recently just graduated from UCLA, class of 2020, like we mentioned, and we just experienced our first sort of college graduation, and it was completely virtual, all through Zoom or whatever this link that they sent us. And they sent that link to us, I think, like less than 24 hours in advance, but whatever. And we experienced like a virtual commencement with our chancellor speaking, some student speakers, as well as George Takei, and he was kind of like our special guest speaker. And yeah, it was like all pre-recorded, so everything had already been like cut and edited, but it was just kind of like streamed or live streamed during like a 3 to 4 p.m. window. And it honestly only took like 45 minutes. I thought it was going to be like a 3-hour commencement or something like that, but that was not the case at all. And yeah, it was interesting, I think, mostly because I wasn't super impressed with like if we start with like production quality. We have like, so our chancellor's name is Gene Block, and he was kind of like the main host of the graduation, and he was like the main speaker, and he was transitioning between everything, and so we would see his face the most frequently. But a really weird thing about it was that his video quality was just very pixelated and blurry. So it wasn't like great at all. Like we would see him and then it would just be like pixels and like his face would be showing up all the time. So like that was kind of like a flaw. But then we also had George Takei who spoke, and he was really inspirational, and his video quality was like so crisp and like on point. It was like very cinematic. So it was like all across the board, honestly. But yeah, overall it was like kind of an underwhelming experience in my personal opinion. Anna, I don't know if you have other thoughts on how virtual graduation was for you and your family, but yeah.
Um, I definitely do agree that it was kind of underwhelming because I think when they were talking about having this virtual grad, I feel like they gave us these expectations that it was going to be like really great and everything. But I mean, I appreciate the effort, of course, because I know some schools are just doing like future in person grad and not doing a virtual one right now. And it's like really hard since like having such a big virtual grad is not very like personalized. Because like for me, like my econ major, they had like another grad, but it was basically just like professors recording messages. But like that, I feel it felt like was a little more personalized because like we knew the professors more, probably taking classes with them, versus like this big virtual one. I was like, I don't know who the dean of the undergrad admissions is or any of these people, but it's totally fine. And I think like I liked like George Takei's speech. I think it was like pretty like encouraging, and like he kind of talked about how like we're like persevering through these times that like no one's been through. And I think that's like one of the, I don't know, like the highlights of 20 like graduating in 2020. Like I think we, even though it's like during these times, like we're still doing this. And okay, I don't know where I'm going with this.
You're fine, you're fine.
I know, like,
Yeah, going off of that too, I think, yeah, I forgot to mention my like department graduation, because that's another thing that also happened. But yeah, for the department graduation, I think like each department, like they would create a little slide sort of for each of their students. So like we would upload like our own photo and like a comment or something we'd like to say, and then they would like put it on this like little slide and like with your face and then like your quote. And it was kind of like this like nice little thing, but it also was like, yeah, I don't know, it was like I guess one way of like calling out your name, because when you walk on a graduation stage you are able to like have your name read out loud, but like for this experience we didn't necessarily have that. So our equivalent to that was like a custom slide on their website, which obviously is not as great. But and then the other thing is like, yeah, actually during the commencement itself, I've like heard from people that like, I guess like one part that people didn't really like is that like we were kind of defined by like the coronavirus and the pandemic during our graduation, and like that was like a good chunk of what they talked about. Obviously it's like very relevant and it's affecting and impacting our lives currently, but like at the same time, like we are class of 2020 and we've been in school for 4 years, and something that happened to us at the like last couple months of our schooling is now what is like defined our entire college experience almost, which is kind of sad because we had, you know, a good like 3.5 years where we did a lot of other things and we made a lot of other accomplishments, and now they're kind of like overshadowed by this pandemic. So kind of sucks in a weird way. But obviously, like, you know, that's like given the situation and the circumstances, I think this is like the best we could have hoped for. And for UCLA in specific, we will hopefully be like having an in-person graduation, obviously once things get better. We have like no idea when that's going to be, obviously, but at least they have promised that for us, so that's good. Who knows if anyone will be there, but at least we'll have that. So that's like one kind of silver lining, I guess we could talk about. And then I guess we can sort of transition into more of like the positive things about virtual graduation, since we kind of have only focused on some of the downsides as of now. I guess in terms of positives, like the thing that me and Anna first kind of thought of would be like that we're all healthy, and like we have to be like grateful for like our health given the coronavirus situation. So obviously like staying healthy is very important. We're currently experiencing like a second wave of the coronavirus, so it is a good thing that commencement did not happen. So yeah, just like maintaining health is good. I don't know what else has been, I guess, like a highlight or a good positive during this time.
I guess like things could be worse. I don't know how positive that is, but I mean, I felt like it was something, even though it was like a virtual grad, it was something that I like look forward to watching with my fam. I was like, oh, like I have something to like look forward to tomorrow to do and like occupy some time with. But I think it was like nice that like, okay, it was kind of weird during the virtual grad when they did like the tour of UCLA from like all these angles, but like I think it was like kind of nice to like see UCLA because like, you know, a lot of us didn't like say bye to UCLA, or like we just left right after like shelter in place went in place in March. So it was kind of nice to just like see campus, even though it was like empty shots with nobody in it. And I mean, I guess like Rachel touched on this, like, yeah, like how like we're like defined by the pandemic, this class, but I guess it's like people like never forget the class of 2020. It's like I feel like when we talk about it later on with like whether it's like interviews or like meeting new people, they'll be like, oh, when did you graduate? And if they say 2020, everyone's gonna be like, oh, we totally remember that year.
Yeah, no, that's very true. I think even now, like people still remember the class of 2008 because of like the recession and like how they had to graduate in that sort of job market that was like really bad. But now we're like the next generation of that. Like we're like 10 years later or whatever, we're a class of 2020 and we had to go through a pandemic and face a recession, on top of like racial tension with Black Lives Matter and like all these things going on. So this is definitely a year to remember for sure. So we will not be like just another year that like people forget about. We will go down in the books, I'm sure. So maybe not necessarily for the best things, but you know, we will go down. So it's good to know that. Okay, so I think we kind of have talked about some of the positive things, some of the negative things about a virtual graduation, and now we can sort of talk and discuss about how we personally celebrated at home and what we did, even if it wasn't exactly the way that we had envisioned or imagined it to be, like where we wanted, like, you know, a Poly Pavilion graduation or like a Royce Hall graduation, but instead we had our like makeshift things at home. So Anna, I know that you and your family kind of did like a fun, I don't want to say like party, it was like a party kind of, or like get together, and like you guys celebrated and you guys did like a really cute sort of feast and thing. Do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, I guess it was like a mini grad party because I mean like we're not supposed to be celebrating, or like we're not supposed to be like getting together right now with people. So like I literally went to Target and bought balloons and blew them up myself.
I love it.
And then like my cousins came by to like drop off like cake and like goodies, and like we took pictures with my balloons in my backyard. It was not very aesthetic, but you know, it was the happy vibes.
Oh,
Um, and it's been 2 weeks and no one has corona, so I think everyone's fine right now.
awesome,
I think
awesome.
it was just cute to like celebrate together, because I think during, like, I know my parents, like, they were like, oh, like maybe we should just celebrate like later when it's like everything's over, and just like make up celebrate with the rest of our fam. But I think like I don't know when that's gonna be, especially with like the second wave and everything. And it was just nice to like do it at home, and like even though my parents didn't get to see me walk, it's like we still got to celebrate like the past 4 years, and like I know my parents were like super happy about it, so it was really nice that like I like got to celebrate with my fam, because I feel like even if we did have like in person commencement, I feel like the bigger part of it was like just like all my family coming down, just like having a trip to LA and like spending that time together, and it wasn't like so much about like the commencement ceremony itself.
Yeah, no, I definitely feel that. It's like what I personally was looking forward to in terms of like graduation and commencement was like having all my extended family come down and like everyone get together and like have dinners or just like hang out in Los Angeles, or I could kind of be like a tour guide and show them around and be like, oh, like, you know, we should check out this place, or you should go here, or like, let me show you, these are like my old stomping grounds, like, let me give you a tour of UCLA, that kind of thing. So definitely like had wanted that for sure. But yeah, I mean, it sounds like you had a really fun sort of small grad party and you were able to like, you know, hang out with your family and like celebrate in that respect. But I guess for me, it was a little bit different. I was in Los Angeles, so I was here, and I was with my sister and my roommate Rebecca, and we well, we I don't know what we were doing that day. It wasn't really a crazy day. We had like a slow afternoon. Commencement started at 3, so me and Rebecca like decided to start cleaning our apartment because it was kind of dirty. So we were like, you know, let's just start cleaning. So I opened my laptop, and I like put the link in for the commencement website, and then I just like loaded it up, and then we like put it on my kitchen counter where we could all see it, and then I just started like swiffering the ground. And then Rebecca, my roommate, started like cleaning our counters, and we were literally just cleaning the apartment, multitasking while also watching our commencement. And then also I was like fielding like text messages from like family members who were also tuning in, or like my parents who were like watching from home on the TV, etc. So that was kind of fun. But I did get to spend it with like my sister and some of my roommates, so we kind of were able to celebrate in that sense. And then my roommate Sally later that evening like surprised us with flowers and like a chocolate mousse cake that was super good. So that was kind of like a fun, unexpected surprise. So yeah, we had like our own little celebration. It wasn't anything crazy, but it was a fun way to sort of commemorate the experience. And then I think the following day, I think it was that morning, or maybe it was earlier that week. And I was able to take like grad photos on campus, so that was really fun. I like dragged my sister to like help us take photos, so that was great. I had like a white dress and like my sash, so it kind of felt more official that way. And then of course I was that, you know, that girl who who went on LinkedIn and changed my profile pic, and my Instagram photo, my Instagram profile pic, and everything. So I mean, I don't know. I think like graduation photos is a really big part of like graduating, even though it's like kind of superficial because it's like, oh, you took a photo, so therefore you graduated. But I don't know. I think it's in its own way, it like really marks the occasion and is like, okay, you've graduated. It's like fun and it's like really exciting. And me and Anna have yet to take our graduation photos, but that is on the list of things that we need to do. So that will be hopefully happening soon. But yeah, so I mean, I think we both kind of in our unique ways got to celebrate at home, even if it wasn't what we originally had envisioned. But I think it was still like a good experience, like overall. And hopefully we'll be able to attend the in-person one when that happens, whenever that happens. So yeah. Okay, so then I guess like we also wanted to talk about just like our 4 years at UCLA, reflecting on it since we are the class of 2020, and like just kind of, yeah, just like general thoughts about what happened these past 4 years. Do you have any thoughts, Anna?
It was definitely very fun. I mean, I wouldn't want to like do it any other way. I feel like that's like super generic, because like I feel like everyone comes out of college saying that. I think it definitely was like a dream come true because like high school, what like in high school, I was like, oh, like I would like love to go to UCLA, but I was like, my grades aren't good enough, my scores aren't good enough. But like the day I got my acceptance letter, I like still remember that day, and I was like super excited that day, and like it's been like really fun, and like I think college is so great because you meet so many different people, and I think that's something that like you don't necessarily get like post grad life, even though like yeah you do like have work, you move different places, but it's like college, like people come from so many different places, and like you don't even know who you're gonna meet, and it's like, and these people you like become friends with, you live with, you have like a bunch of memories with, and so definitely like even though it ended this way, like I don't think the end really defined this like whole time, because I feel like the 3 years 3.5 years that we had, like that really defined what college was, and I'm glad we like were able to have that full college experience, because I know like the next class like 2021 and later on, I don't know if they're gonna have like a senior year, or like even the other like underclassmen, like they're not going to have like a year of their college experience if everything's like virtual now. So I'm like very thankful that we got to do this, and even though we like didn't get the in-person commencement, it still feels good to like be able to, okay, I don't know where I'm going with this either.
Don't worry, I support you.
Just tell me that part.
No, it sounds great. It sounds great. No, it sounded really good. It was like on point. Don't worry, girl. I understood you. I was like, yes. Okay, let me see what I'm gonna say. Okay. Yeah, I guess in regards to like my 4 years at UCLA and looking back on them, I would say like that it was really like a time for growth, like similar to you, Anna. Like I feel like I met a lot of people and like a lot of people from different backgrounds and different areas. I feel like I kind of grew up in a bubble. And I grew up like in like South Bay or like Silicon Valley area, and everyone there and my high school was like fairly similar, or at least the crowds of people that I hung out with or like my friends were very similar. So going to college like definitely exposed me to, you know, diversity of individuals, which I think was really important, even though, I mean, UCLA is like, well, like 60% Asian or something. But like still felt like, you know, I just met different types of people who are interested in different things, passionate about, you know, yeah, different topics, etc. And then I think like the biggest thing, yeah, was because I met so many people, like there was a lot of personal growth for me too. And also kind of just like moving away from home, I think is something that like I had never really experienced like prior. I had like summer camps or whatever, or I'd be gone for like 2 or 3 weeks from home, or like I would go to overnight camp for like a couple days, but or like have a sleepover, whatever. But like those were never like extended periods away from home for like months on end. And like going to college, that's kind of like for me, it was my first real taste of that. And I think it gave me like a lot of courage to do things outside of my comfort zone. I know like last summer I like ended up going to New York for an internship, and that was like something I never thought I would have done. It felt like it would have been really out of my comfort zone, but like for 3 months I like went to another city across the country, and I lived there. And I think what really helped me kind of make those types of decisions was like college, and like realizing I can be independent, I can grow, I can like do my own thing, and I don't need to be tied so closely to like the nest as much as I love, you know, my parents and my family, etc. But like I think college really gave me that opportunity and that courage to be like, okay, like go out, you know, do what you want, like, you know, go get your shit done and like achieve the goals that you want to achieve. And like you don't have to be in the Bay Area, you don't have to be at home in order to do that. You can be wherever it is. And I think it also pushed me to like try new things, because I think, like I mentioned, I grew up in a bubble, and it's just like very easy to be comfortable. And I think for me, that's like something that I can like fall into. Like it's kind of like a trap for me, because I'm like, once I have my routine and once I have something that I enjoy doing, I feel like I just get stuck in it, and I'm like, well, this is really comfortable for me, like I know what I'm doing, like everything is really easy. And then going to college, I think that was like one way to just like push me out of my like normal boundaries. And then I was like, oh, okay, like these are like, you know, new clubs, these are new people, these are like parties or whatever, like let's go do things that I wouldn't normally do. And that's like a really good way to explore and like that sort of safe, not safe necessarily, but like that college environment where everyone is like learning at the same time and everyone's like still trying to figure out things. And it's kind of a low stakes environment where you're like, if you mess up or you fail or you like drink too much one night and you end up throwing up, like it's okay, even though that's like not okay. But like I don't encourage our listeners to do that, but like it happens, you know. So like
I feel low-key attacked right now.
And I do not. We have all been there. So like it happens, and like college is like, you know, a good time to figure that out because you're not like expected to be perfect and you're not like expected to have your shit together yet because you're still like learning and growing and you're still a student, etc. So I don't know. I don't regret any of the 4 years. Like, yeah, the ending wasn't the best, but like you mentioned, Anna, like we got like 3/4 of our, like we almost got like the whole thing. We got a pretty good deal. Like we basically had our college experience, even though it was cut short a little bit. But like honestly, like you know, I wouldn't really change anything about it. I mean, obviously, like okay, fine, no pandemic would be ideal, but like you know, like given the situation, I think we've really made the best of it. You know, so yeah, I think overall it's been okay. Yeah. Don't know how to end that. Yeah.
No, I think like definitely like how Rachel touched on, like there's just so much opportunity in college because I think there's like so many chances for you to like pick who you want to be and like whatever route you want to go on, which I think is like not something that like I had a lot of in high school, which kind of is like also the same as Rachel because I feel like in high school like I just kind of like followed my friends in the same crowd and like everyone would kind of do similar things, but like after high school everyone went to like different colleges and like everyone started over with like new friends and everything, and now like when we hang out now it's like, oh, like everyone's doing completely different things now, but like I would totally not have thought that we would have like gone to explore these things if we like kept staying in like that high school bubble that we used to be.
True. Yeah, definitely. Like we definitely expanded our horizons, as generic as that statement is. I think college definitely like pushed me and like pushed other people to kind of to explore what they're truly passionate about or stuff they're genuinely interested in. So that is good. Okay, well, I guess we wanted to kind of wrap up this podcast by talking about things that we are kind of looking forward to in the future. And this can be like post-corona or post-graduation in general. We have been in the post-grad life, I guess, for a couple weeks now, even though I guess it's been a little bit longer because Anna and I graduated early, but I guess post-commencement ceremony, we have been in that post-grad life for about 3-ish weeks or so. And then we're not at the post-corona stage yet, but hopefully soon. But seeing as how things are going, it may be a while. We shall see. But I think in terms of like what I'm looking forward to, is for post-corona, I'm just really looking forward to some basic things like not having to wear a mask and not having to like stay 6 feet apart from people and like not having to like disinfect my hands all the time. But also, you know, post-corona, I'm looking forward to like being able to meet up with family and friends and like just being able to see them in person because like everything through Zoom is, I mean, it's as close as you're gonna get, but it's just like, I don't know, it's like sometimes it's not the same. So seeing people in person, I think, is number one. And like it's also difficult because I think during corona you kind of have to facilitate and like foster those relationships through more of a digital platform. So if that's like, you know, with my grandma or something like that, it's like trickier for her because she's like not super tech savvy, but like things like that. So just being able to kind of gather in person again, I think will be nice, and like being able to really like have human connection face to face, and like not have to use like a technology as like a medium or something as like in between, I guess, like a mediator. That'll be nice. And then in terms of like post-grad life, in terms of what I'm looking forward to, I guess kind of like figuring out where I fit into this like post-grad, like career-wise, where I fit into everything, is kind of what I'm most looking forward to, because I'm still sort of in a ambiguous area in terms of like jobs and things like that. So I kind of just want to like settle down and like figure out what I'm doing. So that is kind of like my like I guess what I'm looking forward to in terms of post-grad, but also kind of figuring out how to be an adult. And I know I'd say that I like look forward to that. So maybe it's like not really looking forward to that, but like finally just being an adult, even though it's scary and there's going to be lots of things that I have to deal with, like insurance or like taxes and other things. But I guess just looking forward to like figuring out what the rest of my life is going to look like, even though that is a very daunting statement. But yeah. What about you, Anna? What are you looking forward to?
Definitely the same things as you for post corona. I mean, I don't want to be paranoid like going outside and like having to wear gloves because I don't want to touch the door or things like that. And like definitely like the human connection part, because like even though I am such an introvert, I like realize how important human connection is now. And it's like I don't like, you wouldn't think that like these things like we're taking for granted, like we took for granted, and like but we really did take it for granted. I didn't think that like being able to like see people in person was like not an okay thing to do anymore. And I think so like hopefully like then like, you know, I can like meet up with friends again, can get on a plane again, can travel again, and like kind of make up for, not, I wouldn't say lost time, but like, you know, make up for like this past year. And like, because I feel like back then I would be like, oh, or like we'd be like, oh, okay, like we still have next quarter, like we have so long to like do these things. But now it's kind of like you really don't know like when you're gonna have time to do these things later on. So it's like kind of looking forward to that time when we can finally get together and do things and actually like, you know, make the most of that. And in terms of post grad, I don't know, like I'm excited but also nervous at the same time about it, because like I don't really know how to adult and like I realize there's so much that goes into that. Like I don't know anything about health insurance or anything, and I'm like, how am I supposed to pick a plan for this? I don't know what works. um, but I mean, as of now, I like have like a starting point for the career I'm going into, which is like nice, especially like during these times. But I hopefully like things get better with corona so that like I can actually like start work in person, because I think like it's so hard to like learn anything online virtually. And like I feel like work wise it's like, how am I supposed to like meet people at work and things like that, and everything is like still online. But I don't know, like what I'm the career I'm going into, I don't really know if that's what I want to do or like how long I'm gonna do it for. So I think just kind of, you know, excited that it's like kind of like a stepping stone point, or like stepping stone to like launch off of, and like, you know, kind of see what opportunities come with that, or like maybe I'll like it a lot, I don't know. So I think it's like exciting but also nerve-wracking during these times, but I think we'll pull through and do fine.
True. I hope so. I have my fingers crossed, and I think we're both kind of just like, you know, in this like ambiguous, nebulous area where we're trying to like figure out what the rest of our lives are going to look like. And I guess it kind of just ties into really like the title of our podcast to like a 20-something take, because we're still early on in our careers and like early on in our lives and the rest of our adult lives, especially. So, you know, that's like kind of like the whole point of this podcast too. Like as we navigate, as we figure things out, like we will share those insights with you guys. And like, I don't know, you guys can relate, or you guys can like share our struggles, or like be like, wow, you guys should not have done that, etc. I don't know. But I guess that's like, yeah, that's kind of like the whole reason we like created our podcast, to like document these different stages in our lives and how we'll hopefully grow from these experiences. So yeah, I guess with that, I think we can wrap up our episode. Congrats to class of 2020. Yeah, and I think, yeah, for us, like, we're excited that we're entering this like new world and this new workforce and this new sort of adult life and stage of our life. So hopefully everything goes to plan. But I mean, we've got already a couple wrenches thrown in there. So from now on, though, hopefully everything goes to plan, or we do the best we can given the circumstances. Yeah. Well, thank you guys for watching the 4th episode of A 20-Something Take. We hope you guys enjoyed and learned a little bit about the insights of two 20-something-year-olds who just graduated from UCLA and experienced our first virtual graduation. And with that being said, we will see you guys next week with an all-new podcast. Bye!
Bye.